on supply and demand, on how we trade using supply and demand, and how it can help you, make money as well as limit your losses. Okay, so there's a quick disclaimer here. Okay, need to know when to buy, when to sell, when to hold. The basics of trading, and it's very simple. I feel like people overcomplicate their trading and they make it more difficult for themselves than it has to be. Okay, so what is supply and demand? These are areas of buying and selling pressures. So if there's more demand than supply, stock price will go up. Okay, if there's more supply than demand, stock price will come down. Simple as that. There's nothing complicated, right? So, but the only thing is, in the market at any given time, we have multiple participants. Okay, we have hedge funds, institutions, large investors, high frequency traders, and algorithms. Okay, so as a retail investor, you need to be equipped to deal with all those different investors, okay, or the different market participants, so you can protect yourself. All right, so how do you select which sector to focus on so you can make money based on supply and demand? Right, it's actually quite simple, right? Identify, first you got to find the stock and identify the stage that stock is in. Okay, second, you have to see what sector the stock is trading in, and third, is the sector leading over the past 3 to 6 months, right? Is there pending news for the stock, such as earnings, a new product launch, or basically the stock or the company is doing something which can change the market or the current perception of the market for that particular stock. Pay attention to volume. Volume, once printed, it shows us buying or selling pressure. Okay, liquidity is important. Okay, so these things must be checked off when you're selecting a certain stock in a certain trend. Okay, so for example, today we're going to talk about what's been trending in the market. Okay, our first thing that we're going to talk about, or what we're going to focus on, is a sector that everyone's aware of right now: energy. Right, energy and all these sectors are doing really well. So how do we find these? Right, you go to finviz.com. Okay, you're going to go to Screener, Maps, and you're going to go here and you're going to go 3 months performance, or you can go 6 months. I prefer to see 6 months. Okay, and in 6 months here, without checking off show ETFs, we can see which sector is performing really well. And they have a legend here which shows you, okay, so bright green is 24%. So clearly energy has been dominating over the last 6 months. Okay, based on these are some of the stocks that are listed. So simply by looking at it, we'll pick the top two. We'll look at XOM and CVX. All right, so if we're looking at the top two stocks right now, XOM and CVX, so we'll look at them. Okay, there's a couple things we have to do, right? So according to the checklist that I have, right, we must identify what's in trend. Is the stock in trend? Okay, yes. Let's look at the monthly time frame. Okay, let's zoom out. So this is a trend line here. Okay, 2 points here. We have a point here where it breaks down. Okay, then the trend line here deviates and it goes up like this. Okay, so the current trend on the monthly, it's up. And let's go to the weekly. The weekly time frame, we can see, okay, it gives us 2 levels. Okay, gives us this level right here, where the sellers came in and pushed the stock lower from, and the second level it gives us is right about here for now. Okay, so then below these we do have another level here that we need to identify right here. Right, so this is where the stock consolidated before it had upside move, which was one move right over here, right, and then a lower move as well. Okay, which happened right over here and over here, right? So it came and tested these levels and then it kind of like broke down, right? So this is XOM so far, right? So let's go to the daily now, right? So looking at a daily trend, we know that the monthly, we're still in a consolidation. We are in an uptrend. We're trying to push higher, but we're stuck here in this range. Okay, so there's no picking up here. Yeah, we did break this trend line, go down, and now we're trying to bounce above it. We want to see if there's enough pressure here to keep this going above. Okay, so let's look at the weekly. You can see clearly the weekly is trying to get above this level and is trying to get above this level. So this is still a strong supply level. So meaning this is where sellers are still controlling. Okay, this is where sellers are still in control. Why would we want to trade in an area where sellers are still in control? We do not want to. Even though the sector is strong, the volume is picking up. We're starting to see its red days in here as well. So there's nothing here yet until we break 96, test 96 again, maybe 88, 89, and then push above. Okay, so this is where sellers are still sitting. Okay, so XOM, we got no play on it. Okay, let's go CVX here. Once again, we're going to look at a multiple time frame. We're going to start from the monthly. Always start from the monthly. We'll start with a rate. Right, this is a much better looking line here. Right, just like XOM, we can identify clearly these levels right here. Okay, so it needed to push higher here. Didn't if sellers came in and it pushed it lower from here, right? So this is the area of resistance, or we can say this is where supply is high. Okay, supply is high. Okay, now let's go into a smaller time frame like daily. We can see that this level was finally broken right about here, right? But we do not always take the trade at the break of the first test here. Okay, so we can see what's happened in the past. It's tested it, broke down. It's tested it, held a high here, like for example right here. So at this point, CVX is still in this interim bullish trend, right? So it could have bounced from here and gone to here, but this is a speculative play. It didn't go to here. So you wait for the price to get here, you wait for a retest, and you wait for a push above. Okay, so let's look at CVX now. Okay, look, we have a classic break, a retest. This would be your point of entry right here. We're gonna go long here, and we're gonna go short at this low. Okay, because this is where demand is, and as you can see, buying pressure goes above this particular area, and it keeps going, right? So we want to be a part of this buying pressure right here. We don't want to be against it. Okay, so buying pressure, this is a quick, nice move to the upside. Now you guys know the trend is getting very vertical. We're going to have a pullback. We want to wait for some consolidation. If you have missed this move, I don't recommend that you take it. You wait, be patient. People who are patient are rewarded. Okay, so this is, if you're not patient here, you're probably going to lose out. Okay. Okay, so we talked about the XLE, so FinViz as well. So other thing I want you guys to understand is this: when to hold. Okay, so this is where you hold. This is why I have the stop loss. If my stop loss is not touched and the price does not close below my stop loss, I'm not exiting. It's simple. Have a trading plan and exit based on that trading plan. Okay, so a lot of retail traders do not understand the fact that how to trade with supply and demand. Like this is where a test came for multiple months that this test has happened and there was no breakthrough, and until there's a final breakthrough right here and price is closing above that on the weekly, and we get a good barrier to entry right now, and we're able to hold it based on this previous low. This is where price got accepted once again, and buyers decided to come up higher. Price acceptance is key. Okay, so even in a smaller time frame, you guys can find these levels. Okay, so you can see in a smaller time frame, we have a high, we have a low. Price is trading with this. It comes down, but it doesn't go lower. Maybe a hedge fund added here. Maybe an institution traded between this. Right, they did some trades where they started adding to their position. It takes an institution, a hedge fund, or a big mutual fund up to 3 weeks to 6 months to add to their position. If we see price consolidating and we see a break, well, that means there was buying pressure in this area. Okay, if we see a breakdown, we can say there was selling pressure in that area. Okay, now also understand, when a stock gets deviated like this, or it gets very vertical, the reason why it pulls back, because you have traders, you have hedge funds, you have mutual funds, and you have institutions. Everybody has a price target, or they have a profit taking technique. Okay, based on the individual techniques in the market, they will start to withdraw their money. When they start to withdraw the money, or they start to shift the money elsewhere, what do you get? You get a line here where you get an area of resistance, a new area of supply. Okay, so you pay attention to that. Okay, that will help you go a long way. Always know that once a stock has gone vertical, there's going to be some time where the stock needs to consolidate and figure itself out. So right now, I wouldn't be adding on to my position here on CVX. I would be waiting, patiently waiting for the stock to set up. It's not setting up yet. All right. So if we go into a smaller time frame, it'll give you a much different view, right? But same concept applies, right? Let's just go back here. Let's just say this is a 30-day, right? So this is CVX right here, right? We got a area right here of supply, right? And we got an area of demand right over here, right? Price is trading between that range, right? If it finally breaks out, it's going to set a new high right here, a lower high. So this low is higher than this low, setting a trend to the upside. But thing is, this is not enough. We need price to get above this level and close above it. Look, it pulls back, it holds this level still, which is higher than this level, and it continues to push. This is how you know the pressure's to the upside, right? When it gets vertical, right? Even here, it gets vertical. Some people will start taking their money, right? And then it gets another level gets added here, like price acceptance. This is how price moves. Price moves, goes to an area, buyers and sellers come to an agreement, and then afterwards there's a breakout. These are the concepts that you must solidify in your mind. Okay, so let's move on here. When to sell? Simple. This is my simple strategy. When my stop losses hit, it does not matter. It's simple, but it works. Okay, do not trade against the trend. Okay, and do not trade against your analysis. So I'm going to show you guys here a trade on Netflix. Okay, so right here on Netflix, there was an announcement made that Bill Ackman, purchased a couple million shares of Netflix with this company and so on and so forth. Well, if you look at Netflix right now, it's a simple concept here. This was a previous demand zone, which is now a supply zone right here, right? So great, it comes to test this level. It doesn't hold it, right? It gets very vertical. Well, what do we have when the stock gets very vertical? We're going to have a pullback, right? So now we have an area. If this stock is actually going to push higher, so if we just go to this particular day, if this stock is going to go higher from here, this line right here, this is where it dropped down to, and this is where it broke out from. So this line, this area was where price was accepted. Let's just say it right here, right? So let's, for the sake of the argument, let's just say this is the area or range where price, buyers and sellers came to an agreement. Then Netflix broke out, tested the supply zone, which was set for multiple months here, and then what happens? Supply zone gets rejected, we go back below, right? And now this trade right here would have been a good trade, because with analysis of supply and demand, supply broke, right? It makes sense to take their trade on the short term. Okay, let's zoom into the hourly here and have a look, right, how this trade would have worked for us. It goes back to test. A lot of people will try to buy their bottom and try to get in on trades. I don't like to do that, and I don't recommend it either, because I like to trade with a trend and I like to trade with the big money, right? If big money is saying short something, or if big money is short something, I don't want to be against it. Okay, it's as simple as that. because they have a lot deeper pockets than you and I, and they can really mess things up really fast if they want to. Okay, so they can make things better and worse, right? So right now we're in this area where price is getting accepted for Netflix. Now at the break of this right here, 341, because this low has been set and Netflix is not making a new high, but rather consolidating, we want to wait and see what Netflix does over the coming days and weeks. Okay, so this is how supply and demand works. So I'm going to go over one more trade with you guys. Tesla. Okay, Tesla, we want to look at this. Okay, so just have a quick idea here. So this was a previous area where Tesla rejected from. So this was a previous supply zone, which became the demand zone here. Okay, but this area is also important to us because this is where price consolidated. Okay, and we can stretch this out. So this is where price consolidated before, where sellers came in and were able to push Tesla down. This is where the buyers were. Okay, and now we have another area here. We have an area of consolidation up here, where sellers added to their position to short, or where people took profits. Okay, so the other cool thing about FinViz, which as a retail trader you'll find very informative, is, let's just say we search up a stock, Tesla, insider sells. Okay, when insiders start selling, this adds to the pressure to the downside. If the stock is already down and then you see insiders selling on top of that, this can add to the pressure, especially if the number of shares start getting accumulated. All right, so this is something that you want to pay attention to. All right, so when we look at this, let's look at the 1 hour time frame here. Right, look, Tesla right now is simple. Tesla went to test this level, couldn't get above it. Right, so what happened here? Right, price was accepted. Price was accepted here. What did we have? We had a vertical trend line, very up here. So we knew this was going to happen. Trend needed to consolidate for a little bit. Okay, that's fine. We moved the line here and then we moved it here. Right, so we have multiple trend lines. Right, so this finally broke down here. So meaning selling pressure goes back to test. Not able to hold the short move here. Not able to hold short move. So buyers come back in, push it to this level. Sellers add, and then what you want to pay attention to this is every time where price is consolidated on Tesla, where price is accepted. Look, price gets accepted here, we have a move down. Price gets accepted here, we have a move down. Now price is accepted right about here, we have a move down. So this is where buyers currently are sitting, as we can tell for the current time frame on Tesla. If this level is defeated, we can easily go back and test a low level of 693. Right, so this is how we add supply and demand to our trading. All right, I hope you guys found this video informative. I hope this helps you become better with the analysis and helps you find better entries and exits, and it helps you save money as well as make money in the stock market. If you guys like this video, please comment below, like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you.